Welcome to another episode of Power on Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Taylor, and with me, as always, is the harmless yet heartful and hip Sushi B. How you doing, Sushi?
I'm doing pretty good. How's it going, Taylor?
I'm doing good. It's a little hot here, but
Yes, it is.
it's stupidly hot. Like it's dumb how hot it is. I have the AC on in one. Well, I did have it on, but in one room, and then in the other room I don't because it's blocked off. Tried to be at least a little green, and in that other room it is like 34 degrees, and in here it is 26, 27.
Right.
So,
It's still pretty hot.
it's not too. It's not 34 and feels like a damn sauna. So.
Oh, that's true. It's true.
So yeah.
But we've got a pretty good show lineup today. Why don't you carry on here?
All right. Well, first off, want to say, unfortunately, Greg cannot be here again. His internet seems to be still wonky, but it's on the path to recovery. It's going to AA and doing the 12-step program, even though that doesn't work. But it's getting back. So hopefully, Greg, you will be with us soon again. And for now, just in spirit.
Right. So we can get over our steps of grieving. And
Right.
I don't know what we're in now. We're in denial or
In acceptance.
compliance.
Compliance, yeah. Words, English words. But yeah, with us, we have another guest. I guess this is just bad timing on Greg's part. but yeah, we have another guest with us, and that is Kim. How are you doing, Kim?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. It's kind of known about each other for at least 2 years. It's a long time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been a while.
So, but yeah, please tell the listeners about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kim. I'm from Finland. I'm 20 years old right now. Soon, in October, I'm going to be 21. And I've been studying game design in the Finnish university here in the northern Finland. And now in start of August, I'm going to be working at Frozen Byte as a game tester. So Frozen Byte is the studio that made Trine and Trine 2.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the games they're most known for.
Nice.
Very nice. Got your head on your shoulders and going about your business.
Yeah, and I can finally move out of the northern part of Finland. It's oh my god, I'm gonna be so happy to live in the capital area.
Yeah, with that, you also have a channel on YouTube?
Oh yeah, you can find my channel on YouTube. YouTube/TheScarend, stupid channel name, but that's what it is. And you can find my videos are mainly walkthroughs and playthroughs. I don't do commentary right now, but you can find them there.
And that's the THE Scarend is SCARREND.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Nice.
My memory is not completely voided. It's still there, thank God. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for joining us. It's always good to get people on, especially people who don't kind of live at least in the community. It seems like a lot of people are either from America or well, mostly just the America, Canada, England, right. Some Australians, and definitely not knocking on them, seeing I'm American, Sushi's Canadian, but it's always good to add in other flavors of from people around the world, kind of thing. So
Right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Nice. Good hockey country too.
Oh yeah, we won the World Championship in 2011.
Yeah.
And the whole country went crazy. That was like insane.
You guys have one of the best players in modern times in Teemu Selanne.
Oh yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. I don't really follow regular sports that much, but I am, I guess it's basic knowledge in Finland to know the basic players and all that. Like you get exposed to that shit even if you don't want to.
Right. It sounds like a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA. But yeah, this unfortunately for Sushi is not hockey talk, but
nope, that's fine.
But today the topic is a good one. I actually, when you picked this one, Kim, I was really excited to kind of think about it. And yes, folks, we do have the guests pick the topics. That's how we roll here. But yeah, it's what we're going to talk about is the best personal journeys of characters in video games. Kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought it was super interesting. So
No, yeah, I'm glad you picked it. I was when I seen you picked it, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Not to say that the other topics I gave you were crap or anything, but the one that you did choose, I was really kind of happy and giddy, schoolgirl, excited to want to talk about that. So
yeah.
oh goodness. But I Sings Sushi always nags at me to not throw it his way on other episodes. And I kind of shirk responsibilities. I will start us off.
Nice.
Because I am a host, I should have a little bit more of a responsibility of doing things here. So I'll show you guys how it's done. And
Are you pulling up your pants and tightening your belt? Is that what you're doing?
stretching it out. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm ready. But the first one I'm going to bring up here is when you mentioned this, when you picked this topic, Kim, this is the first thing that came to mind, and that is the hero from Dragon Quest V.
Mm.
And I know, Sushi, you haven't played through it. You played a little bit of it, but not all the way through.
Actually, I've not played any of that.
You haven't played any of it, okay. And
No, not at all.
Kim, have you played it at all?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Which one is the fifth one? It's Realms of Reverie.
That's a good question. I think it is. I think
six is Realms of. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, 5 is,
Fifth is
Hand of
the
Heavenly
Heavenly Bride.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I haven't played that. I haven't really played that many Dragon Quest games at all, but I don't mind getting spoiled.
Oh well, I'll keep from doing the spoilers for this one just because. There's a reason, yeah. But basically, with the hero in Dragon Quest V, you start off as a kid who cannot read, because in the game, you will actually go up to signs and books on shelves and be like, you cannot read this. It tells you in the game that basically the main character is too stupid to be able to read. So you go off being this little illiterate little child with your father, and the game spans, I don't exactly know the definitive amount of time, but it's I want to say about 20 to 30 years. It could be a little off on that, but I want to say it's about 20 to 30 years that this game spans. It might be a little bit longer than that. And so you go from being this child to, going to middle age, a little bit kind of actually around your age, Kim, to a bit older, kind of around Sushi and I's age and whatnot. And just the amount of stuff that this character has to deal with. And you don't, in the game, you don't quite get a lot of human allies. You do get a few of them, but not a lot. So you're depending on the monsters to kind of help you. So it's kind of got this Pokemon element to it in a way. But just the struggles and the ordeals that he has to go through, and I know I've said this before, it gives me that feeling of one of the old epics. It makes me feel like Odyssey. I really, really feel that the hero that goes through all this, he is struggling and he's trying to persevere through all of his troubles in the same way that Odysseus had to go through his struggles and also joys and elations. The main character has his own kind of peaks and valleys. I really recommend the game. More because it is about this hero and his title, because in the game you have like your own little titles they give, because you start off as like the son of Pakras, you're like Pakras' son, but then it changes throughout the game, and eventually the last one that you get, or one of the last ones that you get, is just a kind of the crowning moment of it, and it's just kind of like, it brings it full circle, and it makes it just like, God damn it! You are so good, Dragon Quest V. So, and of course, he doesn't have a name, so it's just like the hero. So I just wanted to lead off with that, and that's like when Kim picked this topic. That's the first thing that kind of came to mind. So,
nice.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
Yes,
maybe I'll get around to playing it one day.
Well, yeah, if you guys like the kind of the old Greek stories and whatnot. They're just kind of like that sort of thing. Give it a go. So, but yeah, we're gonna. I'll pass it off to. I'll pass it off to Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. I don't know. Sushi, go. So.
Fair enough. Quick question though, Taylor. Does not the not? I'm asking this because I'm not sure, but do most of the Dragon Quest games not just call the main character Hero? Do they ever have a name or?
No, they don't really. They just go
Okay.
by Hero. But I mean, for those who just don't know anything about the series,
Right.
figure that out. So.
Okay. All right. So the first one I have here is actually a pair of characters because they sort of play off of each other really well, and you could have one without the other, but they make sense together. And this is from Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, or however whatever version. Yeah, there's so many versions. But the first game from the series, and I'm choosing Kyle and Jessica. And the reason I'm choosing Kyle and Jessica is because they're just complete opposites in so many ways, but they're perfectly fit together. The other characters like Alex and this is Luna, right? Alex and Luna.
What about Null? Throw Null in there.
Well, Null, you could put Null in there, but I'm thinking more like the pair sets of characters, like Nash and Mia.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is it Mia? Yeah, Mia's in the first one. So, I don't know, Jessica and Kyle are kind of the funniest. They're sort of like the comic relief throughout most of the game.
Right.
And they have seemingly the most complex relationship just because they both kind of acknowledge that they like each other, but they're both way too independent to kind of be like, well, I need this person to sort of help me fulfill my life in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Kyle. Jessica sort of shows a little more often. She's like a really tough girl. She's a priest, but she's really tough. She doesn't mind getting her hands dirty, but Kyle's just kind of like, I'm just going to get drunk and have fun, and I care about you, but yeah, I'm still a man, and I got to do my own thing, sort of.
Man.
Yeah, he's a man. So. But they play really well together, and to see them sort of develop, you can tell they already have a background together in a lot of ways, but to sort of see them in the game and sort of progress towards being a closer couple is really interesting. And I really like Kyle. I mean, he's a pervert, he's a chauvinist, and all these things, but it doesn't matter with Jessica. Like he's like that, but he kind of gets weak in the knees when she's around, even though he tries to pretend that he's this cool badass guy that doesn't care, but he actually does care a lot. So yeah, Kyle and Jessica. I don't know if I know Taylor, you have played it, but Kim, have you ever played any of the Lunar games?
No, actually, I don't think I've even heard about them.
Okay. You wouldn't be
Please
hard
don't kill
for you
me.
to. No. It wouldn't be hard for you to, if you were interested, to track down some form of it because it's still pretty available on just about every generation since it first released on the Sega CD.
Oh, okay. So does it have like a Nintendo DS port?
There is a PSP port, sort of a
okay.
remake. The DS has another game called Lunar Dragon Song, but that's a completely different game.
Oh, okay.
And not very
Yeah,
good.
maybe I'll get it for PSP.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably like $15-20 at the most new now, so
Sure.
It's
So
definitely
it has a English translation.
I would presume so. I'm not sure like if the European version would be different or not, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, PSP is not region locked anyway, so.
Right. So you could definitely just track one down. I think it's on
Yeah.
the PSN as well, so I think, don't quote me on that for sure, but
Yeah, sure. I'll probably take a look at it at some point.
it's a short game. I mean, I don't like recommending too much, but if you like sort of just really simple, traditional Japanese role-playing games, or if you just want to see what they kind of play like, it's a pretty good one to start with. Pretty easy for the most part.
Yeah, sounds great.
it's a very kind of it's a very lighthearted kind of story for the most part. So it's even though there are the kind of the evil moment, it to me it kind of, I don't mean this in any negative way, but it makes me feel like those kind of adventure Saturday morning cartoons in a way.
A little.
Yeah, like
It's very lighthearted.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's got that lighthearted tone to it, so it's
Right.
So that's why it makes me kind of think of that. Or like some afternoon cartoons or something.
All right. I'll get you next time.
Yeah.
But you know they'll never get him.
Right. Right. So.
But what do you think about those two, Taylor?
That's a good call there. Actually, it's those two are definitely more of they flavor the pot a lot better than Nash.
Yeah.
And Null's just kind of annoying in a way, and Alex he's very static.
He's kind of standard. He's just a standard hero, sort of.
Right.
Looking for adventure, and that's about it.
Adventure. But but yeah, those two definitely are really like hysterical. And when you were talking about them, it just makes me think of it. Just the first time you actually meet the characters, it's just
Particularly Kyle.
It's just really funny. So.
I don't think you're really ruining, but he's drunk and he's in jail. So, and he breaks up by dressing up as a drag queen. So.
Hell of a way to be introduced.
He's a pretty fun character.
So.
It's pretty goofy.
So yeah, over to you, Kim.
Oh yeah, so I have a couple here, but I'm gonna pick this one. I'm not gonna spoil this because I want people to play it, and it's a very recent game. But I picked Joel from The Last of Us, which came out very recently. Sort of a survival horror game by Naughty Dog, and the whole game I think is pretty much based around the two characters, Ellie and Joel, but it's really the story of Joel that the game is telling, and the whole game is very like story heavy, more or less. And I picked this for the reason I honestly think it might be the best written game, like objectively sort of taken, not like counting on any personal bias or preferences, but it is like a brilliant game with a brilliant story and very character centric. So I'm not going to spoil the game. As I said, I want people to play it, but basically the game spans pretty much over 20 years, but the leap is at the very start. The game begins with the scene where the infection breaks out and people get infected by the fungal, and that's about like 20 minutes at the start of the game, and then there's a time leap 20 years to the future, and that's where most of the game takes place. And you get the objective of taking this girl, Ellie, to this organization called the Fireflies, and the whole game is about that journey and how the relationship of Joel and Ellie grows during that. And well, this is like during the first 15 minutes of the game, but Joel loses his daughter at the start of the game when the infection breaks out. So that sort of plays very heavily on especially on the conclusion of the game and the whole story that happens during that, because Joel at the start is very, I'd say, pessimistic about Ellie and doesn't really want her around, and I guess in a way he's also scared that he can't protect her, but she definitely, Joel definitely likes Ellie more when the game goes on. That's sort of one I'd really think is one of the best personal stories of a character in games.
Okay, yeah, my coworker, he got it sent in from the States just because he and I kind of have this. We don't like to. If it's made in America, okay, let's play it in English. If it's made in Japan, okay, let's play it in Japanese. Just because you lose something in translation. So
yeah.
So he picked it up, and he's been trying to tiptoe, not spoil things, but he was like, "You got to play this, Taylor," kind of thing. So I do want to play it, because he also recommended to pick up, to borrow BioShock Infinite from him, and I really enjoyed it. So I've heard really good things about how the story's done in The Last of Us, but unfortunately, as of this point, I haven't had the chance to really play it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty new stills.
right. I do look forward to it because I do want to get into it. So
Yeah, it's really, really good. Like, it is not a fun game in traditional sense. Like, it is very, very emotionally draining, I would say.
okay.
But it is very story-driven. But, oh man, it's such a great game. I will definitely think it's like top 5 this generation easily.
Ooh, nice.
Wow.
All right, you heard it here. Top 5.
And I've been so bummed because a lot of people, the story is very subtle in the game, and it centers around the characters, and I've been really bummed because some people don't seem to understand it, maybe because the moment all the Hollywood explosions got taken off, people don't understand what's happening. So not like most of the people are very positive about the game, but I've just bumped into a few that don't really seem to understand it.
It is always kind of unfortunate when you kind of
Yeah.
miss out on the subtleties that. I mean, but that's I guess that's kind of what makes it what it is that because of those
Yeah.
subtleties, and when you can find them, it's like, oh wow. So,
Yeah, and it's always like matter of opinion, and that's fine. But like, it's always frustrating trying to explain the game to someone who just doesn't seem to get it.
that happens.
Right.
Yeah, well, that happens like every time. Some people were not liking Bioshock Infinite either,
Yeah. So,
and that is like, I guess, a fair point about Bioshock Infinite because the greatest things about that game happen during the last 30 minutes.
right, yeah, and it's, I don't know, it gets kind of JRPG, I feel.
Yeah,
It really does, but
you can like pretty clearly see that Ken Levine is originally a movie writer.
oh, yeah, that's true. That's, yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so I guess back to me then?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can pick one that everybody might have played. No. Fuck it. Too bad. I am going to, the next one I have here on my list is Wander from Shadow of the Colossus. Neither of you have played that, have you?
Well, you know I haven't. So.
I know.
I have started it, but I haven't like finished it.
Well,
No, it's fine still. Like, most of this is fine because I have like 600 games in my shelf, and I'm never gonna have the time to play them all anyway. So
okay,
it's fine to get spoiled.
Plenty of people seemingly have played it, Taylor. So
yeah.
go-
Yeah.
Well, it's you know, it's part of the Team Ico or Eco, whoever, I think it's Eco, but the it was, Team Eco made Eco, of course, and then they made this game, and there's very little dialogue. You have spirits from the clouds talking to you, and then you have Wander saying "aggro" or kind of things like that. Yeah, and a priest from time to time doing cutscenes talking to a group of people, and that's about it for dialogue. You're not getting a lot of dialogue. It's not meant for that. It's meant to portray this very, I don't want to say simple or cliched, but I guess simple would be a way to put it. Yeah, very simple concept of this man doing everything that he can to revive this woman that, for whatever reason, we think that maybe it's a woman that he loved and whatnot. But and so he goes around this forbidden zone, slaying giant colossi and having a good time doing. I don't know about having a good time doing that, but as you kill more and more of these things, you can see it in how the graphics for it. He does not look very healthy as this game goes along. You're thinking, oh man, he's doing such a good job taking down these flying motherfuckers and all this kind of stuff, and these giant things that are like 40, 50 stories tall. He's doing a pretty good job of that, but he does not look very well throughout it. And for me, why it's, despite the fact that he goes through this and does not come out very well. It is not, the dude does not, he gets what he wants, but he doesn't get what he wants, if that makes any sense. And it is like such a dick move what gets done to this guy. And you just feel bad for him, and it's the fact that he, despite what little there is told to you, that I guess it makes it even more personal is because you're filling in all of these blanks yourself, and so you yourself are kind of adding in your own kind of thoughts and your feelings and whatnot of why this person is doing what he's doing for whatever reasons, and it's just god damn it, Shadow of the Colossus, you're so good. But it's just, I don't know. I guess it also kind of, because you're filling all these voids and these gaps in with your own kind of thoughts and feelings and whatnot. If you want to go that far, I mean, you could just be like, "Fuck it, I just want to kill things and listen to cool music." So be it. But if you're filling in all these gaps and stuff, and I don't know, it kind of, in a way, it kind of reflects back to you if you really would be doing those sort of things to that extent, and to kind of see how this character's personality kind of shines through, even though, I mean, you're playing it to play a game, but besides the point. To me, it's just a kind of like, damn, Wander, you've got some cojones there. You really, very strong character in my mind, even though, very, very little to him. It's a very strong character, I guess. So, yeah! So, but yeah, so that was another one I had on there. So, over to you, Sushi.
All right, I have this isn't one that's going to be real deep in thought or anything, but one that I kind of felt was interesting was the Mega Man X, actually. Just to Mega Man X, because this isn't a character that you just kind of look at and feel like there's any sort of resemblance in your own life or anything, but I think just from the standpoint of looking at where Mega Man as a franchise sort of started as sort of very kind of clean-cut platformer with just some different elements added into the rock, scissors, paper elements added into it, and was able to make its own franchise and become very popular. And then X kind of comes out sometime after, I guess, maybe after 6, I think, after the first 6 with Blue Bomber series. X comes out, and X sort of takes all of that old stuff and is just kind of like, well, none of that stuff is important. This is a kind of new franchise, a little bit more edgy type Mega Man who kind of has problems. Like, in the Blue Bomber series, it's just kind of like, well, they're at it again. Dr. Wily's making bad robots. And it's like,
oh, that Dr. Wily.
That's sort of what you said earlier about being like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's very, very lighthearted. And not that X is some sort of thought-provoking piece of art or anything, but it at least tries to give a sort of universe that you can sort of analyze a little bit more. And Mega Man X is not really just this sort of robot that's made to beat up other bad robots. He's created to sort of be like this epitome of what robots can be to help humans and be in cooperation with humans in the future. And he's able to like feel and think and do things that a lot of the other robots can't do. And I don't know, I kind of think it's an interesting, at least the start of the franchise. I don't know how it all plays out as it goes on in time, but it's really interesting to see this character, how his friends are dying, like as Zero gets blown up in the first game and stuff. And I mean, he comes back, but just sort of this, X has a lot of issues to deal with, whereas kind of Blue Bomber Mega Man doesn't really have that kind of foundation to him. It's just kind of, let's play a fun game. And X is much more, not much more serious, but definitely has much deeper seriousness to it. So a bit of a strange one is Mega Man X.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it like that ever, but yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I would say that I actually kind of thought about it a little bit. I was debating of putting Zero in there because I think because of how Zero comes about and then how he learns of his creator and everything.
Right.
And how that kind of shit fucks with you.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. So it's just like I don't see an issue with that. Mainly like with the what's the series where Zero's the main?
Well, I think it's just Mega Man Zero.
Is it just Mega Man Zero?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's like they definitely tried to add a lot of depth to the X characters. With X and Zero and Sigma. Of course, they went a little overboard when it got to, because 5, I believe, was supposed to be the cutting point, and then they went into 6, 7, and 8. And that was just
when you're making money, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, and that's
Right.
another story for another time. But
Mhm.
I don't. Yeah, that's actually a good one. I really like that one. So
Right. I think it also helps with the fact that just the characters around him. Like Dr. Wily is very comical, right? It's just kind of like this big giant mustache dude who who just makes trouble for people basically, right? He's just a bad guy to be a bad guy. Sigma's sort of got these devious plans of world domination and destroying any robot that opposes him and these sort of deep-seated hatred for humans and things like that, whereas Wily's much more just goofy.
he's got a bone to pick with light.
That's about it, basically, right? It just didn't like him when they were younger, and that's to his deathbed. So Mega Man X. All right, but let's throw it back to you there, Kim.
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite series of all time. So I picked from Metal Gear Solid.
Mm.
I think both Solid Snake and Big Boss are pretty interesting, but I think Big Boss is way more interesting than Solid Snake.
Yes.
Especially since all the games seem to revolve around him nowadays. Because Peace Walker was about Big Boss, and now Metal Gear Solid 5 is gonna be about Big Boss. So yeah, that guy.
That guy. What as it say, I actually had him on my list too. His Operation Virtuous and Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Snake Eater in general is just the shit that he goes through. Really kind of makes him.
I often say this, but I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite game of all time.
Play it, Sushi.
I'll get around.
What
Anyway.
aspects of Big Boss do you like that kind of for this personal journey of his that kind of like makes you think, oh man, go through it until it's when you start getting dark and then stop.
Yeah. Well, I think the way he's presented originally is super interesting because he's like a bad guy in the original Metal Gear, and way that he's sort of just left behind at first. He gets his ass kicked, and then we go into Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2. And in the first one, I think he's mentioned, but not really, not a big character in that. And same thing in MGS2, where he's not probably mentioned even once, I don't think. At least I can't remember right now.
His remains are kind of the focal point with 2, because there's a reason why they're trying to go after his. Well, no, is it 1? 1, I think they wanted his like DNA samples.
Oh yeah, it is 1 when Liquid wants the samples.
Right.
But I think Big Boss remains are the big point of Metal Gear Solid 4 at the end of the game.
Right. Yeah. And then yeah, you go through that and you get, because honestly, Kojima didn't have anything after 2. I don't think he had anything after 2. But then he's like, you know what? Let's retcon some things and let's flesh out this character from back in the day.
Let's jump back in time.
Yeah.
Because Metal Gear Solid 3 is basically like a double bluff. Because you start off with the Raiden mask, so people are like, oh shit, I have to play Raiden again. And then he takes it off, and it looks like Snake. Because I don't think you're told at any point what the operation really is at that point. And then you play a bit, and I guess you might not really realize before the end of the game that he's Big Boss. But he starts off as just a normal, I guess, quote-unquote, normal soldier who just kills everyone.
No, he doesn't. You killed everyone. You killed everyone.
Yeah, well,
you
that's
murderer. True. Murderer.
Yeah, basically you can think he's a superhuman. He just fights huge tanks and all that stuff. But anyhow, stuff he goes through in Metal Gear Solid 3 is really how should I say? I guess tragic would be a good word for that. And it clearly shows the way for his character. In a way, he sort of leaves the whole USA and all the army stuff and builds his own army without borders in Peace Walker. And still in Peace Walker, the stuff that happened in 3 haunts him pretty much.
Right. that's a weird kind of thing, is how, like, some of the things in Peace Walker that a lot of people kind of don't like, because they're like, oh, well, it's well, why is he still having questions about this? And I think how they kind of explained it was that the tape fucks up. So he doesn't hear all that was recorded. And so even though you're hearing this, he doesn't quite know the full story.
Yeah.
And so, like, which in a way it kind of takes a little bit away from that ending scene, which is just really, really, it's a really powerful scene of his. But I think it kind of helps at least add to Peace Walker's relevancy, and also to Big Boss's character.
Yeah, and Peace Walker is definitely like the building point for going into, well, obviously 5, but also the original Metal Gear.
Right.
Like, it seems Metal Gear 5, or Metal Gear Solid 5 seems to be really close to the point in time when the first Metal Gear happens. With
I think it's 11 years, but I think like 95 is when the first one takes place, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's...
So, Snake Eater takes place in 64, I think. Then Peace Walker is again like 10 years after that.
Yeah, 75 or 74. I think it's 74.
Yeah.
No, 74. 74.
Yes, 74, yeah. And then there's another big leap as they revealed. First is Ground Zeroes right after Peace Walker, but then there's a 9-year jump into the Phantom Pain. And you can definitely, if you watch the extended cut of the MGS5 trailer, you can definitely see like stuff is going pretty dark.
Yeah.
And it's a really good trailer.
It's pretty crazy, so can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Super excited. So, yeah, so since that was one of my own there too, Sushi, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'll just bring up Solid Snake then, because because I don't have much experience with any of the games that Big Boss is featured in. I do kind of like the personal journey that Solid Snake goes through as well, just because, like, imagine being alive for so many years, then just finding out suddenly that, well, you're not actually your own person. You're somebody else, essentially. And how hard that might have been for him at first to kind of take his pride and swallow it, to be like, well, you're not actually the greatest, legendary fighter of all time kind of thing. You're that guy. Like,
that dude.
So it would be pretty. I couldn't imagine like having to deal with that as a person. And I think he does have a really interesting journey. And by the time we get through 4, and his body's really breaking down by this point, and he's not actually that old, but he looks that old. Like his aging process is just all out of whack. But he's still sort of, to not really throw out a pun, but he soldiers on, right? Like he goes to the bitter end, essentially, of his life to protect the world. Still, he still seems to have this sort of, whether it is just his DNA from Big Boss that's kind of pushing him along, or if he's truly become his own man and sort of realizes his place now, or whatever. But
I think with how 4 ends, Big Boss tells him, like, he specifically says, you would have done things differently. So I think that's kind of reinforcing the idea that he had become his own man, and that he had kind of overcame kind of that title, that link that was bonded him.
Yeah, and basically, if you think about it, like, Solid Snake spent his whole life fighting what Big Boss created, which is the Metal Gear.
Right. Yeah.
Like, all he did all his life is just try to prevent these nukes from going off. And it's not really implied anywhere when they were born, if they were aging faster back then, or if the aging process was normal. I'm not sure, like, how old Solid is. I mean, the first Metal Gear. But like,
he'd be what, like 23 or so?
Yeah, he's in his early 20s or of some age.
When the first Metal Gear, so by Metal Gear Solid, he's 28, 29?
I thought he was a 30 by Metal Gear Solid. I thought
so
he said he was like in his early 30s or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's sort of a gap in there, like,
right, like a 10-year gap.
What did he do his childhood? Yeah.
And
it's been speculated now that in the new MGS5 trailer, Eli is actually Liquid Snake.
Dun dun dun.
So we'll see about that.
We'll find out soon enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Or we won't, because they'll just be like, well, yeah, we're going to make another game to retcon that one. So hopefully not. But we're going to make the Vita game that fits in between this or something.
With the headaches.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's horrible.
It's great, but it's hard to kind of try to connect it all together. So
I think that's the whole point. You just don't try, right? It's just not even. It's just not even worth it. It really
Right.
isn't. It's interesting to get some details about stuff, but then you just gotta be like, okay, that's about as far as I can go because this is just too much.
Bridge too far at this point.
Yeah, and as the series goes, like, even though the chronological order is pretty out of whack when the third game is basically the first one in the timeline,
Right.
but I think it's still like better to play them from the first Metal Gear and then onwards from that, because obviously they made that way, and there's always some stuff you might miss if you're playing them in the wrong order.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Back to you then, Kim.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, I picked something a bit lighter this time. I picked Yuri from Tales of Vesperia,
Oh, nice.
because he's one of the more fleshed out characters in Japanese RPGs.
Mm.
And like, I love JRPGs, but those characters are usually pretty one-dimensional.
Mhm.
But Yuri has he has a past and he has a future, and he has his own thoughts, as is shown in the game when he sort of takes justice into his own hands and does what he thinks needs to be done, rather than listening to other people and the law, especially, or the knights.
I am the law.
But like, yeah, I really liked his character in the game, and I guess it helps out that there's the movie that's sort of prequel to the game. Obviously it came out after the game, but still, yeah, I guess I don't really have that much to say about him, but I think he's one of the more fleshed out characters in JRPGs.
Yeah, like, I don't know anything about the movie other than it came out. I didn't see it, but I like he's willing to do what he needs to do to get things done. It's the means to an end kind of thing, and if that means stepping on some toes or cutting people down, it's going to get done,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
Right.
And he sticks by that. It isn't like, oh, I shouldn't do this because X, Y, Z. It's like, I need to get this.
Yeah, like he doesn't really give a fuck what the others say about stuff. He just, well, I'm just gonna kill this guy. Like, whatever.
I do what I want.
I do what I want.
Have you played it at all, Sushi? Or?
I played about half the way through that game, and I was having Xbox trouble, so I just stopped playing it. But I like the name escapes me. Who's the White Knight that's sort of almost like a brother to him, very
Flynn.
close to him? Flynn?
Yeah, it was Flynn.
Flynn? Okay, yeah. I like the sort of play between those two characters, because Flynn is very, very much a believer in the system and justice, that, whatever he believes to be the proper way of treating situations. People have to go through a justice system and whatnot before they're kind of like fair trial and whatnot. And Yuri's much more just like, well, if I don't think this guy's doing the right thing, I'm just going to take care of this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
Flynn's
definitely
kind of like
shows.
the White Knights, kind of like the main character, a very, very like stock main character, in a JRPG kind of thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but because of Yuri, though, he works a lot better, too.
Right.
If Yuri's not there, then yes, he's much less interesting.
Yeah. You can definitely see that in how Flynn is part of the Empire and Yuri is part of the guilds.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the movie, they are both part of the Empire in the movie, but the movie ends with Yuri leaving the Knights.
Mm-hmm. Certainly get a lot of banter of that in the game, where Flynn keeps kind of like telling him like, you need to come back, sort of thing, and
Yeah.
get your head on properly.
Well, there's a really cool. I think it's near the end of the. I don't know how I played on the PlayStation, so I can't really. I played the PS3 version, so I can't say exactly where it's at. But there's a fight in about the last third of the game, I want to say. That's that hinges with those two characters. That's a really cool kind of scene with them.
Mm.
And,
Oh, you mean the one with the animals and monsters?
right after the big hordes of monsters kind of thing. That fight kind of is really it's really cool, and it's just a really nice. It adds to the characters.
Yeah, definitely. Because that scene is just Yuri and Flynn fighting together.
Yeah. So yeah. Back to moi.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to go with I can never say this character's last name, but Ramza Belv and Delita Harrell, the kind of the two, I would say, integral or kind of main cogs in Final Fantasy Tactics. Because you play as Ramza, but you see kind of some of the perspectives there with Delita. Have either of you guys played Final Fantasy Tactics?
Like an hour, and I was
played
done
it.
with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my story as well.
Ah, man, I suck at picking things that you guys have.
No,
Anywho, like the Final Fantasy Tactics, some people might have. A lot of people seem to really like it, and when you bring up tactical RPGs, that seems to be the one that kind of comes to people's minds first, or a lot of times. It's I really enjoyed it and stuff. I think the thing with it is that kind of makes it even really more enjoyable is that it's how it's presented is that it's a story about something that happened a long time ago, and they kind of have ideas what it is, and they find new documents that says contrary to what common day thinks. It'd be like somebody in 200 years' time seeing some leader today who's villainized actually being as like seen as some kind of hero or something. And I find that pretty cool. And it goes through the story of Ramza. He's trying to do what's just, what's right, and he even though he's a part of upper class and stuff, he's like, oh, gotta do the right thing. Doesn't matter if you are some sort of really, really high up class or some really poor person. It's about doing what's just and what's right. And he sacrifices his positioning to do what is right. Where Delita, he comes from a poor background, and he does whatever he can to kind of stick it to high class and be like, fuck you guys, he does not like the upper class kind of people. And how that gets played out, and what Ramza has to do in order to fully kind of go through with his what's just and doing what's just and doing what's right is something I really, really enjoy. And how it's kind of how the game presents it about being like, oh, this is you're learning new details about a heretic X amount of generations ago. It's just a really cool kind of thing. I like those kind of stories. I don't quite remember what they're called, but it's like the story within a story kind of thing.
Storyception.
Storyception. I don't think that's quite right, but yeah. But it's I like that sort of technique and how it's done. Just seeing what Ramza has to do and everything is just like, yes, yeah. so yeah, Ramza and Delita, especially Delita is such an interesting kind of thing, because it's kind of seeing where the two splinter off, and it's kind of in the same vein with Yuri and Flynn, except for just it's tackling different kind of perceptions and questions and whatnot, but kind of the splintering of two really good friends, one going bad or evil, you could say, or just rotten, where the other one is kind of trying to stick to a higher ground. So, yeah. So, back over to see you there, Sushi.
All right, well, let's pull away from the RPGs a little bit here, and I am going to present Ryu Hayabusa from the original NES Ninja Gaiden franchise. This guy's got to go through hell for for a whole lot of nothing, pretty much. Kim, have you experienced any of the old Ninja Gaiden games at all, or?
No, I haven't played any of the older ones. I've played the newer ones, 1 and 2.
Okay, if you like losing your hair and biting your nails and just general controller throwing, you will enjoy these games very
higher
much.
blood pressure.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much like my game.
If not, you may just want to watch the YouTube 20-minute run-throughs of it. This is a really cool franchise. This is one of the premier franchises from the 80s to really show, and I guess early 90s, to really show cutscenes in games and to show how they can present stories really well. And they do a really good job considering this for the NES. They do a really good job. And there's just a whole lot of stuff going on, especially it gets progressively weirder as the franchise goes on. But particularly in the first game, you have a lot of betrayal and just so many interesting plot twists and things like that. Like you have a girl who wants to shoot Ryu right at the beginning, but then she wants to make out with him by the end of the game, and like just
Chicka wow wow.
from fathers getting into midnight duels to meeting their sons after 20 years again, and like just really crazy stuff going on. And I mean, poor Ryu, he gets dropped into so many pits that are just hellaciously difficult for players to get out of. It's just, it feels unfair. Like you got to feel sorry for the guy, not only for yourself but for him. Like, but it's a really interesting watch the journey of this character. Like he does take a step back. He really is sort of just part of the situation, but because you are playing as him during the game, you kind of not necessarily feel an emotional connection, but you just really want to get him not only through those objectives, but you want to get to the next cutscene. At least I was just mind-boggled to see this on screen. I was like, this is really cool. Like if I can beat this part, which is really hard, I get a little bit more story every time. And for me, I didn't really play any games on the NES that were like that. It was always just you beat stage 1, you go to stage 2. That's all it was. So it's interesting to see a character at the time that wasn't in an RPG really sort of get a story included with him. So, but yeah, he has a rough go of it. he's on floating fortresses and pits and moving trains and fighting men that are spiders and all kinds of weird stuff. So, and all he's got is a sword made of a dragon's fang or whatever. and balls of steel and wits of iron. So and bats and birds to deal with. And, so. Hellacious times for Ryu.
He kind of he drew a very short stick on that.
Yeah. But he always comes through. The man comes through. So
with somebody who's good playing the game, yeah.
Right. I can't quite say so much for the new games. The new games are just as weird and strange, but they don't feel so... They try to put this cinematic experience into them, but I just don't feel for Ryu in it, other than I feel like he's just still awesome. I don't really care about the other stuff that's going on. It's just like, okay, here's another strange man changing into a beast type thing that I've got to kill again. Where that happened. What happened in the NES one, but there was some interesting backstory with a lot of the characters.
Yeah, and I don't have any clue about the story in the new ones, 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I've actually played the Sigma ones, but like I just thought the gameplay was fun.
Sure.
I played through Ninja Gaiden 2 like 3 times.
Nice. That's an interesting choice though. That's kind of you Hayabusa there. He's
got bad days ahead.
Yeah.
He just finds bad places to be.
He's got some really shitty agents working for him.
Yeah. Wonder how many he's killed now. Decapitated multiple guys. He seems to get shot a lot too in the old franchise. He doesn't die, but he gets shot a lot.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
yeah. Now over to you then, Kim.
Sure. So I'll keep going with the less RPG-centric content. And I'll pick Kratos from the God of War series.
He's an angry
and this
man.
is like, yeah, and this is like a pretty weird choice because he's not a really well-written character. Like the whole story of the trilogy is Kratos is just fucking angry. He wants to kill stuff.
By the way, I've never played a God of War game, so that's an amazing synopsis. He's just very angry.
Just very angry.
Yeah, like.
That's pretty much it.
His whole goal is just kill all the gods. Like that's the whole point of the trilogy.
Right.
But the way he starts, like he's some sort of a Spartan warlord, and ends up killing his own family because of the God of War. And sort of, I guess, well, it's very gamey how the story splits because they couldn't make a 30-hour action game, so they made God of War trilogy. But like first you become the God of War, and then you are not the God of War, and then you're just fucking angry again, and then just
You have all this power
and,
taken from you.
yeah, and then just go and stab Zeus in the face.
Right.
Like that's the game.
Well, Poseidon!
In a way,
he's just like screaming everybody's name pretty much.
yeah, like God of War 3 starts with the boss fight with Poseidon.
Right.
Like
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really good boss fight. He like sticks his thumbs into Poseidon's eyes and throws him off the mountain. Like great, that's a good start for the game. Maybe a little bit too good.
I'm guessing that this is all the Greek gods. There's no other mixing of pots. No.
We get a little Hercules in there though. We get Titan. We get some good ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently Hercules is Kratos' brother.
Yes.
So Kratos smashes Hercules' head in.
Yeah, and smashes his face in.
Yeah, like in the finisher you can't see Hercules' face anymore because it's so mushed out.
The best part is that it was Kevin Sorbo, the guy who played Hercules on TV in the 90s. So you have so much fun doing it. You're just like, yeah, Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, God.
This is for making Sundays a lot worse.
Oh, jeez.
It was only Xena and Hercules on TV for a long time.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, there was X-Files for a while, but I think that was when X-Files was kind of running it.
Okay, midday, there was only Fishing, Hercules, and Xena. So.
Not a lot to choose from.
Not really.
Oh,
yeah, like God of War is in a way interesting, even though the story and the character is really simple. I don't think God of War would be even half the game without Kratos.
Right.
Because he's, in a way, I guess, interesting still, even though he's just fucking angry.
Does that simplicity help it, then, with him just being really pissed off? And
yeah,
I guess like at least it's really easy to follow.
Yeah. It's just a bloodbath. That's all it is. I would say I almost put him on my list actually, Kim, because I think in the first game at least the second game has story, but it just starts getting really odd. Like it's just like he starts taking up all these sort of tasks from certain gods, and it's just like you get a little bit of like that he's being played like a fiddle a little bit, but at least you get the story of his family, like you mentioned, and he does go through some trials of like falling into Hades, and he's got to fight his way out and sort of redeem himself, which he still kind of doesn't do, but at least in his mind he feels like he has to a point. So
yeah, well, I guess he kind of redeems himself at the end of 3.
Sort of, I guess. Like, it's so, yeah, I don't know. Does he? Like, he's still angry. Right? Like, at the end, he's still
I
angry.
guess he doesn't really have to care about after 3. Like, he's just whatever, man.
Right, but they didn't kill him off, so he can come back just as angry if he wanted.
Time for a Norse edition.
Right, Taylor had mentioned this before. Like, he could just find other gods to kill. Or
slaughter them all.
You should just have him face like all the Sony exclusive like characters or something, like face the guy from Infamous, Cole McGrath or whatever, and like just have him face off against like all these other Sony properties. Nathan Drake, he'd just be like, he'd be trying to shoot him and he'd just be slashing him away.
Yeah.
The
first game does have a bit of story, I guess, especially at the beginning, and you have that sex mini game.
I think, don't they? They all have a mini game, I think.
Yeah, they do. Like the first one, I guess, almost right off the bat starts with it.
Right.
It's optional.
But is it?
You get a trophy, I think, if you win it.
You do get a trophy because I found it, and you get a bunch of those red orbs too.
Oh yeah.
You might get a trophy in all of the games for doing it, actually.
I think so.
I think
third one has the best one easily.
Although I think, does the third one have Aphrodite or something? Like he goes right to the top.
Yeah, because you meet Aphrodite's girls, and then I think Aphrodite tries to kill you or something.
Right, but
I'm not quite sure.
But he still gets the trophy in the end. So.
I was going to say, isn't that just the cherry on top, though? Trying to kill you with that, I guess.
And you would think he wouldn't be angry after that, but he still is.
Yeah, he's always angry. Yeah,
Always
like
pleasure, bro.
Athena's character as well. Like she helps Kratos quite a bit. I think she gives him the blades and all that crap. And by the third game, Kratos is just so angry that he kills Athena as well.
Right, he doesn't care
So
about anybody.
yeah,
You'd think he would have killed himself by this point. Like he's tried. He tries like at one point, but you think he would have tried harder. Like he just
You're not angry enough. Come on, dude.
I guess so. He's blinded
Yeah,
by
well,
his own anger.
first game starts with the scene of him falling from the cliff, but like
Right.
I survived, and now I'm gonna kill everyone.
But the gods were foolish enough to think he'd be useful to them, and that's
Yeah,
what triggers his anger even more.
yeah. But yeah, that's what I picked. Kratos, my man.
Man, sounds like the dude gets pissed at everything.
Oh yeah, it's just
He does.
bunny rabbits and Christmas
he
morning.
He kills all the colossi as well, and like these dudes size of a mountain, and he just goes in and rips off their hearts or something.
Oh yeah, they should put him in like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. It would just make more sense. Like you would just be like, yeah, I don't mind killing all this stuff. This is no problem.
They just put him in every game because, like
They should pull him as the last guardian. They should just like right as you start the game, you're thinking it's going to be this grand artsy type game, and then all of a sudden Kratos walks out. This is the real last guardian.
Kratos will come up and just rip the weird animal in parts.
Yeah, he's riding that thing and he's like ripping its skull off.
Oh, man.
I guess I need to make a campaign, put Kratos in everything. Like in Twitch TV, in the major esports events, there's always like a million guys who have like a nickname, like put Sagat into Game X.
Oh, God.
There's like a million of those. So I guess I need to put Kratos in Game X.
Kratos into Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Pikmin. Just like Cooking
Yeah, but
Mama. Imagine Cooking
Meme is
Mama.
usually like, put Sagat into Persona 4 or something like that. Like, just every fighting game should have Sagat.
Oh wait, wasn't Kratos put into Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, he's in the PSG version of Mortal Kombat.
Right.
No.
And
I
he's
think he
in
was
the
in.
PlayStation All-Stars.
He was also in Soul Calibur on the PSP. I think. I think I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he was put in there.
Yeah.
How did they put him in Mortal Kombat? I don't know, because like honestly, he's about 10 times angrier than any of those characters. Like the fact that he can even die in there is it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Maybe it's not that he dies, he just gets bored.
yeah, that could be it. Scorpion's just like screaming at him, "Get over here!" And he's just walking.
Come here.
Whatever.
Fuck
My
off,
chains
dude. Really? Jesus.
Yeah, like there's the finishing move in, I think it's God of War 2, where Kratos rips off the hand of the enemy and then sticks the hand into the enemy's head. Kills him like that.
Jesus.
There are some pretty
Like there's some
bold
pretty
steps.
brutal stuff in there.
Yeah, a lot of eye gouging,
Pissed off.
Yeah.
wing
In the
ripping.
third one, he kills the guy with the boots. I can't remember the god's name, but it's just like
Hermes?
cuts off his. Yeah. He just cuts off his legs.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
right. He
you
does
won't
cut off
be running anymore.
and then somehow he magically gets his legs attached to him so he can run fast. Like
Yeah, he just wants he wants the boots, so he cuts off the legs. Like that's logical.
he gives Icarus a pretty gruesome death as well.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like somebody who's just really pissed off in history class kind of thing. It's like, fuck all these guys and their stupid ass stories. We're going to make a game where we just slaughtered them all.
Yeah, it's pretty amusing to watch some of the. I had the one collection on the PlayStation 3, like the collection of the first and second game, and there's all those videos of them like making the game, and they just keep talking about how angry he is. Even they're just like, we're trying to find these obstacles for him to get through because he's just so angry. Like, it's pretty. I watched most of them actually. Because it does have a nice art style and stuff to it, believe it or not. They do put a lot of emphasis. The music is actually really well done as well, but you're so blinded by this character because he is so overbearing in so many ways. Like it's just it is fun to play as him though. If you just want something a bit mindless, it is pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's really pretty to look at.
Mm.
Especially the third one.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where we go from there.
I'll attempt to carry it on. After that, angry man, I am going to make this incredibly not angry and go
Docile.
back to RPGs because that is where I drew from. And I'm going to go with Zidane from Final Fantasy IX. Have either of you played 9?
I have not.
Nope.
Great! Cool! Again, I am shooting pretty high there. Zidane, he's kind of, like, at the beginning of the game, he's very joking. Kind of not too serious, just kind of carefree, kind of just like wants to do what he wants to do, and you know he doesn't quite have a place in the world, so he's just kind of just I'll do what I want, and
I do what I want.
I do what I want. He eventually, some of his views on life get challenged, or certain things happen where he gets split from certain characters and he falls into ruts. And they actually do have they do have the game follow him through with these kind of ruts. It isn't just like instantly always feeling better, but there are times where you do see him kind of be down on his luck and just kind of like, all right, whatever. And it's really cool how the game kind of does it, because it's like, and you're like, oh, Zidane, he's really cool. He's kind of doing all his thing. Yeah, woo. And then something happens and he's just like, fuck, whatever, go. You're just kind of like, oh, man, dude, cheer up. Making me depressed kind of thing. And it happens a few times. I mean, Final Fantasy IX's not horribly lengthy. I mean, the first time you go through it might take typical PS1 RPG time frame, but I mean, he does have a few valleys and peaks in there, and it's just an enjoyable to kind of watch him go from being this, even though he ends up being a static character. I think it's really cool to see him kind of go from being like just carefree and enjoying life to like trying to be a bit of a showboat at times, and then just being really just down and just like fuck, what does it matter? I don't care. It's never gonna be kind of like typical typical teenager, like, oh, god damn it, no, like end of the world kind of thing when something doesn't go your way kind of thing. And by the end of it, you're just like, hey, he's back, he's doing his thing. Way to go, Zidane. Yeah. Him as well as Vivi. Vivi in 9 has a very interesting kind of journey, because Vivi kind of questioned a very, very kind of, what's the word, existential? Is that word kind of, kind of questioning one's existence? Mm-hmm. Very, like, even though it's a very young character, it's a young character, but also a complex character, and just how the emotions really kind of dwell in him, and with things that go on really, really batters down. And to see both of those kind of, in a way, team up and go together throughout their adventure in Final Fantasy IX is just really, really awesome. So, yeah, Zidane, but also Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. So, over to you, Sushi.
All right. I don't know how many you guys are still kind of gonna put out here, but I have just a couple left. I guess, though, for the next one, I will throw out Kazuma Kiryu from the Yakuza series. I know, Taylor, you haven't played any of those. Kim, have you experienced any of the Yakuza games?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'll just do a real kind of brief synopsis, sort of, from what I played up to. I've only got up to the third game. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay, yeah, just, he's a really interesting character. He is the main character, at least for the first 3 games. And this guy goes through a lot a lot of problems. Like he becomes a former Yakuza, and he keeps getting pulled back into this world that he's trying to basically escape from. He's just kind of tired of the life of being around these people that are just really kind of not the best of friends, I guess, if you want to say that. A lot of them are just kind of backstabbing individuals, and they're dangerous, and you can't really trust most of them. And it would be a hard life. And the guy's kind of starting to push up in age a little bit. Comes back, and he's in his mid-30s, and as the franchise goes on, he's up to his 40s, and he's just really done with this. And he takes on this girl that he tries to protect, and he's trying to raise her as best as he can as a sort of foster father to her, even though he doesn't really have a connection to her. And he's just got this horrible luck, essentially. He just keeps running into police that are thinking he's doing criminal activities, and falls in love with a police officer, but it can't work out because he's a former Yakuza and all this stuff. And he's constantly getting stabbed or shot, or somebody else is getting killed, so he's got to come back and beat up a guy for killing his friend. And it's just you got to wonder, like, what point can this guy why doesn't he just leave Japan? Like, at this point, like, they've tried to expand the series so he goes to other cities. He opens an orphanage in Okinawa to totally escape all the life of Tokyo, and he still ends up back there somehow. And it's just like he's got like 10 kids now to take care of at his orphanage, and the orphanage is going to get closed because the Yakuza are selling the land to all these people, and it's such a crazy story. Most of it pretty believable.
That sounds a bit like Hitman 2, when after the first Hitman game, the dude goes to work at a church.
Right.
And he just like takes care of the garden.
Right, in Italy or something, right? And then he gets drawn back in, and he's just like shooting guys outside the church and stuff, and then he's back at it.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like that too. It's just like the guy can't win, it seems like. He's got plenty of money, he just can't seem to escape the life. So it's either going to kill him, or he's just going to have to leave the country, essentially. But I would like to see them stop the series, just to be like, okay, there's only so much stuff we can honestly put this guy through. Like, there's got to be a point where you're just like, okay, this is totally fake now. Like, he can only watch so many of his friends die.
Yeah.
Or he can only have his orphanage taken down so many times. It's just so goofy. Like, or he can only be stabbed or shot or whatever. So, but it is good. Like, up to 3 at least, you're kind of like, okay, this is a good time to be like, yeah, they could have stopped it, but they were kind of smart enough to keep him in the fold, but he's not the focal character after that point. They sort of added these other characters, which seems smart, because now it's like, well, yeah, the guy he's kind of off to the side now. He should be. But it's kind of fun. It's a good franchise if you like just playing the game, but you can mess around if you want to play darts and all these other things and stuff is kind of interesting. So, but Kazuma Kiryu, interesting life journey.
Yeah, sounds good. I've been trying to get into Yakuza, but I haven't actually managed to buy any of the games yet.
Okay. 3 is a good one. One of the coolest things about the games is that let's say you just pick up 4. So because they all are interconnected and they're like year after year, if you pick up 4, it'll have like the entire story from 1, 2, and 3 put on the disc, so you can just watch them in like 15, 20-minute full cutscenes, basically. So it's nice if you don't just have to be like, what is going on? I have no idea. They can give you that. And I like that they did that. A lot of other games don't do that, which is unfortunate. So you're kind of like, well, I got to go buy every game. You don't have to do that with Yakuza, which is nice.
Yeah, sounds cool. I just hope they localize the HD remakes of the first 2.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I have no idea. I mean, 5 is looking a little grim at the moment as well, so...
Yeah.
We'll see. But back to you, Kim.
Yeah. Then I had another one of the Tales series, and this is from Tales of the Abyss, which is Luke, the main character of the game.
That didn't sound good.
Have you played it, Tyler?
I tried. I couldn't get into it. I kind of got bored.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, some people say that. Well, now a lot of people that really liked it said, "Oh, you should try to play through it." And I was like, nope. can't. Well, no, it's just,
Done.
yeah. If I can't enjoy it up to the point where it gets good for people to say, then I'm not gonna. I just it's not in me to be like, oh well, I'm just gonna suffer 8 hours of annoyance
Yeah.
to get to.
It gets good after 8 hours. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
usually not worth it.
So
But it's kind of like Luke is an asshole at the beginning
yeah,
of the game. That's
Such
like
a dick.
that's a huge story element of the game. Like that's the point, kind of. And it's such a bummer because I think it's impossible to do in any other way. Like you have to hate him
Mhm.
when you get to the twist point. But like, do you want me to spoil the game a bit?
I already know what happens.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to play it. So.
He gets knocked down a peg. Or
Yeah.
two.
So it
5.
it turns out Luke is a clone of this other guy, and that sort of puts things in perspective for him. And he turns out, like, during the game he evolves into this really good guy, and at the end of the game he basically sacrifices his life for the world. But it's a really interesting character development story because of, just as I said, like, he's an asshole at the start, and even I was like, God damn it, man! I bought a PS2 and all the import stuff, and because it was never released in Europe, so I had to go all through this work, and now this guy is such an asshole. I'm sorry if I want to play this game. But like, yeah, once you get to the point where he's revealed that he's a clone of this other guy, and stuff gets sort of rolling, it gets really good.
Which is like it's a decent. It's not like horribly too far. It's a decent amount of time into it.
Yeah, but it's not like that bad. It felt like a lot of at the first playthrough, but I played it through like 2 or 3 times, so after that obviously it didn't feel as long. But yeah, I think his whole story is pretty unique. I haven't really bumped into a story like that in other games. Even though we talked about Metal Gear Solid, but that's like, even though those guys are clones, they are a completely different thing.
Right.
And the whole cloning process is a really big part of the whole story, that how people want to just clone stuff. But yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that one
And
does get brought up.
It was remade for 3DS, so if someone wants to play it, it's on the 3DS now.
I know some of one of my students. I don't have him anymore. He went to the high school and stuff, but he was a big Tales fan, and he dropped like close to 150 hours playing Abyss. And I was just like, Jesus Christ! And he's like, it's just so good. I was like, and he was very sad when I told him I didn't like the game. So,
Well, it's the series evolved pretty nicely at that point, because that was, I think, the first game to have free running during combat. So at that point it was pretty new, and it had all the skill stuff and mystic arts easily available. So yeah, I played a lot of it too, like over 100 hours, but not quite that much. But then again, I played Vesperia for like 400 hours.
shit.
Yeah, like the reason why I bought an Xbox originally was to play that game.
Wow.
And I didn't have anything else, so I played through it like 4 times in a row.
Well, you got your money's worth. That's
That's
Yeah,
for sure.
and I also do have the PS3 version that I played through once with all the side quests.
okay. Yeah, I like the PS3 version. I tried to play it on the 360, and I actually got bored of it the first time, and I just I stopped like shortly after when the guilds got introduced that area. I was like, I'm not really feeling it. And then I, on a whim, picked it up again, and I actually blitzed through Vesperia, and I was like, oh man, I actually really enjoyed it. Yay.
Yeah, it's nice that you can play Flynn and the PS3 version.
Yeah.
It's really fun character to play.
So, back to me. I got a few more here, but here, I'll just go out with this one, and I know you guys haven't played this one, but
Sure.
not just because that seems to be the case with most of them, but the next one I have on my list here is Finn from Genealogy of a Holy War and Thrakia 776, 2 Fire Emblem games on the Super Famicom. Unfortunately, these 2 games did not make it out of Japan, so I believe there's a translation available for both of them, like some sort of translated ROM hack of both of them available. So if you want to go about it that way, by all means. Finn is not a lord, and so he's kind of I don't. He's kind of like the personal knight of one of the lords in Genealogy of a Holy War. And Genealogy of a Holy War takes place over 2 generations. So you have the first generation, and Finn is one of the first characters. He's in the kind of initial chapter and stuff. And he kind of crops in and out. He's in it for a while, and then he disappears, and then he comes back. And this dude, holy mother of fuck! Like in genealogy, it's you have the first campaign, or like the fathers and mothers, and then you have their some of their daughters and sons as well as others finishing up everything. And Finn's still around. He's still kicking. He's still whipping ass. And not only that, but between those 2 games, you have Thrakia 776. Well, in between those 2 generations, you have Thrakia 776, which takes place in between that time, which I know I just redundant, whatever. But and Finn's kicking ass there too. He's goes on a 20-year ass beating spree of just like dealing with not only his kingdom, well, not his kingdom, but the kingdom that he's a part of falling to waste, and him trying to protect the rightful heirs. He's trying to protect this kid from being caught and pretty much killed, and he's trying to protect him. He's trying to do what he can to rally troops to fight off all these assholes in Thrakia, and then he goes back and he teams up with all the sons and daughters of these guys, and he's like, fuck it, I don't care if I'm like 40, I'll still truck on and destroy all you people. And depending on the game, because you can pair up different ones, he technically has a daughter, I want to say, because like how the pairings are, there's some that are quote-unquote true pairings and some that aren't. And he technically has a daughter, from what I recall, and he doesn't quite know, or it's a bit of a mess, and I haven't played it in like 3 years, but he just whoops ass. And the thing is that after Genealogy, he and Leaf, who's the heir of Thrakia, go back to kind of get rid of and finish off all the turmoil that's still cropped up in that area. So he doesn't stop fighting after the end of the game. He still does like another X amount of time fight. This dude goes on war and escapes being killed for like 20 goddamn years. And he is loyal to the bitter end, and just the fact that you could, and he's not even like a lord, so he's not like you could just kind of be like, oh, he's a good side character, oh, he's good. But then there's some other characters that just kind of overpower him, and so you're like, oh, you're good, but you just kind of hang back, dude. It doesn't matter. Finn, you rock, dude. You are the greatest. I heart you, Finn, forever. Goddamn, it's just one of those characters that he doesn't have that much detail to him, but just to see him still fighting around, he's aged. You see him all wrinkling up and everything. You're like, come on, dude, you've been fighting. Just finish it up, man. And so yeah,
he loves war.
It's not that he loves war, but he's trying to right freaking wrongs.
Just call Kratos.
But he's not angry.
That's what I mean. At this point, just call Kratos.
Yeah, and like creators can do all that stuff.
But that's just like unfair. So I don't know. Like him, both Finn and Marth. Marth's a lord, so I mean, he has more story to him, and both of his games, it kind of works out pretty cool, I think. But Finn, dude's a beast. So yeah, over to you, Sushi.
All right. Well, I'll just finish off my last handful here. The 3 of the ones that I have left were from RPGs. Well, so to speak, I guess. First one is Ryo Hazuki from Shenmue. Even though the guy is like a cardboard, flaky person, like he's just not there. Seems to be mentally in a lot of ways. He exists, but not on a mental mortal plane, sort of. He's just kind of... Well, with half the information he gets, half the time you're just like, oh yeah, if you just walk to that building that's across the way instead of asking 25 people where it is, you probably could have solved this murder mystery already. But still, it is interesting to see him go on this journey and to have interactions with people. And the only thing is he doesn't seem to change a lot over time. Like he just sort of, he learns things about people and he learns about places and he learns about life. But because the story isn't finished, we don't know like how much he actually grows as a man, because he is a young man. So he's definitely really hell-bent on this revenge sort of scheme that he has in mind. But maybe if we got more of this, if the story concluded, we might actually get a bit more understanding of him.
Maybe
but
that's
he just
what
seems
it
to have
is.
one motive. But
Is that he
Maybe.
he learned in his heart that revenge is not the answer.
maybe
So-
maybe that's just it. Yeah. By the third game, he walks up to the guy and just walks away. Just puts all that trouble, and then he goes fishing or something. It's just he ends up in Guilin, and he's just like,
He-
this place is beautiful.
He goes looking for sailors.
And he retires. So. But anyways, you do get, I think it's maybe more of the overall experience, including him, because he is the vessel that you're using as you're going through the world. But he's one. The other one I had was, I don't presume either of you guys have played it. I guess Taylor, I know you haven't. Is from Panzer Dragoon Saga, and that is the main character, Edge. And Edge is just a young guy as well who goes through a lot of trials and tribulations and sort of becomes this chosen dragon rider, not obviously by choice, but because the dragon chooses him. And over the course of the game, he meets some very interesting characters, very few because the world is very desolate and empty and a very lonely place. But I think that really works to the advantage of the character, and you learn a lot about him slowly over time. And the final one is one I thought you might bring up, Taylor, and that is Kaim from Lost Odyssey.
I had him on the list. I just hadn't gotten
Down there yet?
right.
Yeah, and he's a really good one. I mean, we get plenty of backstory on the guy. We don't even get everything. That's the scary thing, is we get a lot, and we still don't even get all of it.
I think that's a great thing about it, though, is that
Oh,
those
for sure.
memories they're really detailed and they're really great experiences. Well, not great, but they're experiences. But there's just so much that you just don't know, like what else there is to it.
It's still a big mystery.
Right, which makes it really, really cool.
Right, and it helps that he doesn't really remember these. Like, he finds the memories, basically, by having mental triggers of being in certain places and stuff. He's totally forgotten, basically, his entire past.
Well, I think that would be what would kind of happen if we were to, like, because of how our brains are, if we were to be living for that long, it's just eventually just going to kind of
1,000
wash
years.
over. Right.
Right. So very, very interesting character. And at first, you don't... I didn't personally really like him at first. I was just kind of not that interested in him. He just seemed a bit boring. But then you do get the first memory, and then you start to see how focal he is in the game. And he's a little bit dry. I mean, he definitely is, but it's just the things you learn about him that make him interesting.
Right.
I don't know if you've played any of those games, Kim, or not. If you want to comment or just move ahead.
Lost Odyssey. He was the main character, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I played through the first disc and some of the second disc. I got into a haunted mansion and I got stuck, and then I just thought, fuck this game. But like, I want to get back to that someday, but I don't know, that part was somehow so frustrating to me. But I did get some memories, and they are really well written. It's just a problem that it's a game and I don't want to read them. But I did read most of that I got, and they were really good. You just have to be in a certain mindset for it.
Yeah, for sure. Some of them are pretty long.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I think there was, I don't know if there's more, but I know there's at least, I think they had printed those memories out in a book in Japanese. And it never got translated. I don't know if they added any more to it or not, but I know there is a book of it. And I'd like to find it now that I think about it, but...
Right. Be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if they added any more to it or if it's just the memories, but I mean, even if it's just the memories, it's a hell of a read, so...
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
hope I can get it back into the game someday.
Well, hopefully you do, and when you do, you enjoy it. And don't get stuck in the haunted house.
Yeah, it's a pretty long game, but if you're kind of midway and you stop, unfortunately, it might be better to just start again. It's one of those games that it's hard to just like come back into, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I do remember like the character development in that game was maybe slightly weird in the way that you have the funeral scene. I think it's on the second disc. And that's like, you just come there and suddenly there's a funeral and everyone's crying and you don't know what's going on. Like that was weird.
It's definitely different than a lot of other Japanese RPGs, that's for sure.
Yeah. It has a pretty cool opening scene.
It's a pretty, like, Jesus.
Slaughtering people.
Yeah.
With like no emotion on his face or anything.
Whatever.
He's just walking around.
Bring it
I'll
on.
kill people.
So, Kim, if you kind of what you have left there, you want to kind of rattle off?
Yeah, I'll do a small mop-up. So I also got some RPGs left. I think Shulk from Xenoblade is a pretty interesting character and how he turns out as well. I guess I'm not going to actually spoil it if someone of the listeners haven't played it. Just play that game. It's like the best thing ever.
And hopefully they can get it for cheap. I mean, I feel really fucking bad that it's so damn expensive. And it's just like, it's so good too. And it just pains me that people that want to play it, but can't get their hands on it or anything. So it's just like...
Yeah. But like, Shulk is a really good character. How he sort of goes on this journey of revenge once again, as is the standard in JRPGs. But how he grows with the sword, the Monado, and how he finds out stuff about himself and the world, and how everything works. His story is pretty fascinating in a sense, even though all the characters in Xenoblade are a bit one-dimensional, I think. But Shulk has a pretty good story and a backstory. And
I like him and how him and Dyne, how they kind of play off of one another.
Yeah.
So I think that helps.
Especially the English voices are really good because they're all in British accent.
Oh, that's right.
And they sort of work really well. Even though the first time I played it with Japanese voices, but now I've been playing it with the English ones.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, someone who doesn't really understand Japanese, the English voices are better, I would say.
Okay.
I've noticed it's, at least for me, it's a bit harder to make like an emotional connection with the characters if you don't really understand what they're saying, even if it's subtitled.
Right. It's that whole lost in translation bit.
Yeah. But that's a good one. Then I have from Grandia 2, Ryudo.
Nice.
I think he's also a bit interesting because he's like a real badass mercenary at the start, and then he's also one of those characters that sort of just devotes his life to saving the world in a way. Like he's ready to put it on the line.
It's an interesting pick. I actually had Merrig on my list, but I cut him at the last second.
Yeah, I think in a way Grandia 2 is pretty mediocre game, but it has a special value to me because it was the first game I ever bought with my own money.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And I actually got the PC port, so... But, yeah, I think that's an alright one. Sort of something, I guess, that means more to me, really. I guess in the grand scale of things, he isn't that complicated or interesting, but he's definitely more complicated than the other characters in the game. Like, the others feel like, well, we're just tagging along, killing stuff.
Millennia? You didn't like Millennia?
Well, I think she's fun, but, like, I don't think she's super complicated either. I guess there's a weird duality with Elena.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't think I had anything else. I had a list, but then during the podcast, I started writing more characters that came to my mind. Now I'm done.
It's all right.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up.
Oh, I wanna give a special mention to. I think this is an obvious one, but Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. I probably don't have to talk about that much.
He gets really messed up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because first time I played that game, it was 2007, so I was pretty late to the party in a way. And because that game doesn't have voice acting, I obviously read the dialogue, but then afterwards I watched the movie that isn't really good, but like Cloud is super emo in that movie. And that's sort of the sense that I got from the character. Like, in my mind, Cloud was always super emo, even in the game. But then I let's played 7 again and read the dialogue, and he didn't seem that emo to me, at least at the start. So that was kind of a weird thing for me.
I think the thing I liked about 7, I'm not a big fan of 7, but I did like the concept of him being a pathological liar. I thought that was kind of cool. I like that. I thought that was kind of I don't really know very many games that kind of take that route of, here's your main character, but he believes his own lies. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, his backstory is pretty interesting, like how his friend died and he just took over his identity.
Yeah, he's kind of messed up in the head.
Yeah, a little twisted.
Yeah. Yeah, those are my games.
Okay. Yeah, I'll finish up what I have here. I threw Ark from Terranigma on here. I don't know if either of you played it, but you are basically charged with having to piece the world back together. And I would think that even though, though he doesn't really change that much or anything, it's more of he's kind of in charge of putting this place back together, and he gets to see all of this kind of transpire and everything. And there's things that he learns about himself as well as learning about people as a whole and people in general and whatnot. That kind of, I don't know, I think is pretty cool. And what he ends up doing, what needs to be done. I also put on here Maxim and Selena from Lufia 2. Because even though Maxim is such a fucking carbon cut character, he at the beginning is just about killing little jelly thingies to basically get a little bit of money from this chick who totally wants his penis, and and he,
because his name is Maxim.
And he has no, like, nothing. He is like, it is friend zoned. He is totally friend zoned with this chick, and she's just like, oh, I want to go with you because you gotta be near you, all this kind of stuff. And poor Tia, but eventually Maxim gets married to this other chick who's not even like, and they get married in the game. Eventually they have kids, so you kind of see him going from just this dude who's just kind of like, yeah, I'm doing this, and then I gotta whoop some monster ass to he changes from that. He kind of develops these feelings, but then it becomes more of a protector in the sense, and not just an adventurer kind of thing. He's like, I gotta protect.
Jelly killer?
Yeah, he goes from jelly killer to sinistral whoop ass motherfucker, and he goes from that to being a protector of wanting to protect his family as well as his wife. And with how the game ends, after you beat the final boss, there's a bit of gameplay after that, and how that's kind of unfolds is the reason why I put him in there. And for Selena as well, I put her because she kind of is the cog that kind of turns Maxim into being a little bit more than just kind of a jelly killer. So
hate those jelly killers.
Damn jelly killers. But I mean, yeah, Lufia 2 is a very standard RPG, but it has really, really good music. Just the ending itself, I think, makes the game. It's just such a damn good ending. But I also threw in here the 4 kind of main characters from Zero and Aono Kiseki. They just, a lot of the stuff they go through is just really, really interesting, and I like it. I'm not going to go into it because it just takes too long. As well as Fei Fong Wong from Xenogears, because that dude, not only does he get poontang, but he he goes from wanting to be this pacifist and then whining so much about having to do things that he's just kind of, he doesn't want to, and just the amount of psyche break that the amount of psyche that gets broken with Faye is just like, man, the dude really gets shat on from time to time. But eventually, all of that breaking finally kind of pushes through, and I think kind of some of the other things, I don't want to say it, but some of the other things that deal with kind of Fei Fong Wong's history, I'll say, is just really, really, really interesting. It's a really, really cool thing how it's done. So, yeah, that was my list.
Nice.
So I don't know. Yeah, did you guys play? I know you guys didn't play Zero or Aono Kiseki, but either you play Terranigma, Lufia 2, or Xenogears?
Nope.
No.
Unfortunately, a little bit of Xenogears, and Lufia 2 has been on the list, but I kind of want to get the card of it, and it's pretty much impossible to get in English. So.
Yeah.
For a decent price.
Yeah, it's a bit hefty. I think my brother he told me, because I just talked to him recently. He said that just the cart was like $70 or something.
Yeah, it's a little much.
It's a bit hefty. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is our picks for best personal journeys. There, it's a lot there.
Yep, there's a lot. So maybe if anyone listening has some to add or comment on the ones we've chosen as to why they're good or bad, please do so.
Exactly. I mean, there's got to be. No, I mean, there's not got it. There's definitely a lot out there that we didn't hit up there, and I know people have their own kind of tastes and whatnot. So there's bound to be some that hit them a lot more than they would have hit us, I guess. So
Right. Maybe the Duck Hunt Ducks, or
I was thinking that the fat dudes from ice hockey, but I mean,
oh yeah, they've definitely got a journey. I'm sure they played through the minors and Pee Wee.
that or Bayou Billy. I mean,
Yeah, he's got a pretty interesting personal journey. I'm sure he's just sitting on his porch in his Louisiana bayou house or wherever he's living on some sort of river raft, and out of shape, having a cracking back a few cool ones with Karnov or something. I don't know.
So yeah,
Who knows?
want to do a game?
I know you came me up for a game.
Sure.
All right.
Let's see what we can do.
Let's see what we can muster up here. So, Kim, I guess if you would do the honors here, if you could pick a number 1 through 28.
I'll pick 8.
8. 8 exclusive
Okay.
games. So
Exclusive games.
exclusive game releases, meaning games released on only one console. So none of this port shit going around.
Huh.
But I think
Oh,
but I think like we're not counting virtual console stuff. I'm thinking more so these are physical releases.
okay.
Did I lose?
Okay, well, okay, that we'll try it. It sounds really difficult.
That's the hey. I think we picked it because we wanted to make some difficult games.
We did, but okay, that's whew, okay, let's give it a shot. Should be interesting.
Are you good with that there, Kim?
Yeah, sure. If you just want to explain what's going on,
Okay,
that'll be
so
good.
well, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we haven't done a game in a while, but anywho, you basically. So with this, you mention off a game. So for example, My Little Pony Express or whatever. And then it passes on to the next person. The next person cannot say a game that's been used in that series. So, for example, if you gave a game that like that, he can't say My Little Pony, Pony, or whatever. You can't use
My Little Donkey.
you can't use games in the same series. So if you mention one and then you can't do that. We try to have a time limit, but we are pretty piss poor at keeping with it.
This one we might be stretching it a bit. So
I say let's go for like 10 seconds. I'd say.
Okay.
And then so for example, Kim, since you're the guest, we'll have you go first, and then Sushi, do you want to go, and then I'll go, or
Sure.
And so Kim, you'll go, Sushi will then go, I will go, and then it'll be back to you, and we keep going until somebody loses, until somebody's a winner.
Somebody exhausted
Yeah.
from thinking. Now, Taylor, with
Sure.
this means it has to be on one console, right? Like you can't say let's say like a sports game that gets released at the same time but on multiple consoles. That will not count.
Right. It's only on the one console, but I mean the virtual stuff doesn't count.
Right. So let's say like if it was released on PlayStation, but now is on the PSN, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
This is going to be tough, but all right.
Bring it on. Okay, Kim, anytime you are ready, go.
All right, I'll start with The Last of Us, PS3.
Sure, that's it. Maybe that's what I gotta think of some new ones. Maybe that's the best way to go. I will say Infamous on the PS3.
I will go with The Third Birthday. It's on the PSP.
Every
I'll
time
go
you
with-
say the third birthday, I can only think of Birthday Suit. I don't know why.
Hey, man, fuck y'all. Okay? It's a good game.
I'm not saying it's a bad game.
Go,
Never
Kim.
mind. Never mind.
I'll go with Demon's Souls on the PS3.
Okay. Let's take Mad World on the Wii.
Nostalgia for the DS.
Duh. It's all right. It's all right.
nostalgia,
It's just-
all right. Meant to be left back there.
All right.
Okay, Kim, over to you.
Metal Gear Solid 4 on the PS3.
I just had one. I forgot it. Oh, Thousand Arms on the PlayStation.
I know the Japanese name for it. What is it in English? Fuck. Fuck.
Say it. Maybe we know it.
Do Prism?
Threads of Fate.
There you go. Threads of Fate. Thank you. Threads of Fate for the PS1.
Nice.
Tales of Xillia for the PS3.
Otogi for the Xbox.
Ooh. Metal Max 3 for the DS.
It was nice and robotic. Metal Max 3.
Then I'll pick Killzone 3 for the PS3.
Okay. Paper Mario for the N64.
Ooh. Oh my go. Ash! Archaic Sealed Hearts for the DS.
Terrible name.
It's such a bad name.
Valkyria Chronicles for the PS3.
Nice. Half Minute Hero for the PSP.
Xenosaga Episode 3. Also Sprach Zarathustra for the PS2.
Zombie U for the Wii U.
Bok Tai for the Game Boy Advance.
No? Okay. Time Travelers for the PS Vita.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Wii.
Oh yeah. So that in that case, Mario's all out now, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to clarify.
Jesus, where have you been?
There's so many. It's just because this is such a hard one.
Right.
My next one will be Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn.
Sands of Destruction for the DS.
Eternal Darkness for the GameCube.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin on the DS.
Landstalker. Oh, wait. Do we count?
Yeah, that's a.
Because it's
Some of those
is
ones
it, is it in a compilation?
Is it on?
Because I know it's not on the.
No,
Sega.
I don't. No, I don't think it is on that.
Oh, phew.
Because I think we would have played that. So no, I don't think that's on there. I think you're clear.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll go and keep picking the easy one. I'll take Skyward Sword for the Wii.
So Zelda's done.
Yeah.
That wasn't even my next one. I've just forgotten it.
Uh-oh.
Patapon for the PSP.
Ooh, nice. Star Ocean Blue Sphere for the Game Boy Color.
Color, right?
There's a
Lost
downloadable
Odyssey.
one. Oh, nice one. There's a downloadable one, but that's downloadable. Fuck.
Is it my turn? Sorry,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said Lost
What-
Odyssey.
Oh, okay, Lost Odyssey. Blue Dragon on the Xbox.
Ooh, Last Story on the Wii.
Oh, I was gonna say that. Well, Baten Kaitos, the Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean for the GameCube.
Oh, yeah, that's super long name. Let's go with Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii.
Okay, all right. Tearing Saga for the PS1.
Xenoblade for the Wii.
God Hand for the PS2.
E7 for the PSP.
Did E7 come up for PC though?
Did it?
I could have swore it came up for PC. I could be wrong.
I'm not aware of this.
It was supposed to be exclusive for the PSP, so we'll just say yes. But I swore I heard rumblings that it was.
I didn't think. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Sorry.
Not yet.
Continue. Yeah, maybe eventually.
God of War 3.
Yeah, certainly talked enough about it. Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter on the PlayStation 2.
Last Promise Story on the PSP.
Heavy Rain for the PS3.
Heavy Rain, nice. Oh, that one just got remade. Mario Kart DS for the DS.
No. Asshole. Dragon Quest Swords.
Swords.
Dragon Quest Sword.
I'll pick Uncharted 3 for the PS3.
Yeah, all those damn PlayStation ones that I've never played. I've really not played any of those. And of course, that made me forget my one again. So I will take F-Zero Maximum Velocity on the GBA.
Oh, nice. Pandora's Tower on the Wii.
God damn it. I'll pick Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube.
Yeah. Well, I'll take Chrono Cross on the PlayStation.
I'll take Terra Enigma on the Super Famicom or the Super Nintendo.
Pokemon Colosseum for the GameCube.
God, thankfully you picked Pokemon because I have no idea. don't many of those get remade? I'm gonna run out of time, so I'll say Ni no Kuni. No, that's a remake. Well,
It's on the DS as well.
Well, but the thing is that
Yeah.
the PS3 one is like an additional bit to it. So like
Yeah,
all the
that's
White
what you
Witch, stuff is not in the DS version. So
I can say another one if you want.
I could let it pass. But
Yeah, sure.
Kim,
Fine with me.
there you go.
I have another one if that's not good enough.
No, that is good enough.
It's good.
No, I forgot my god. Treasure Hunter G for the Super Famicom, Super Nintendo. Fuck off. Kim, over to you.
What was that
Guess
all
I'll pick.
Just let it go.
I'll pick Civilization 5 for the PC.
Oh, nice.
Cool. And I'll take Mutant League Football on the Genesis.
I want to say it, but I don't know if it came out on anything else. Shining the Holy Ark. Was it only Sega Saturn?
I think that's only on the Sega Saturn.
Okay. Unfortunately.
I guess so. That will negate all Shining series, I guess.
Yes, all Shinin series.
I guess so. Yeah.
Guess I'll keep going with the strategy. I'll go with Total War Shogun 2.
Okay. I will take. What's that game? Little League Baseball on the NES.
Isn't Dragon Force only on the Sega Saturn?
Yes.
Well, there we go.
There's plenty of Sega Saturn exclusives.
Well, we don't have many. Over to you, Kim.
StarCraft 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that one was remade. I don't know how to say this name. It's on the DS, like Mateos, Medios.
I know what you're talking about. Like,
Is it Mateos?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't know. Yeah,
I know what game you're
butchering.
talking about.
I'm probably butchering it. So.
Because you guys mentioned Mario Kart and stuff, does Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars count?
I don't see why not.
No,
because Mario's been taken, sort of, right?
You said Paper
Mario. I guess
Mario.
technically I should be out then too, right?
Well, you said Paper Mario, and then you said Mario Kart, and I'm like, that's fine because they're two different things, and technically Paper Mario.
Well, I think the Mario RPGs are also their like own series.
Okay,
in a
all
way.
right, fair enough. Okay, well, I was just asking because it's delineation, not quite. Okay, Mystic Quest, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Warcraft 3.
Grandia Extreme. on the PS2.
Ooh. Radiant Historia.
Nice.
Huh. Mm, mm, World of Warcraft. I'm just blasting through the Blizzard library here.
Well, you're gonna run out soon, so
Yeah.
it takes them 10 years to make a game.
Yeah.
They're pretty slow. I will say Hotel Dusk, room 200, blah blah blah, or whatever it's called. Hotel Dusk.
But Super Metroid.
Yeah.
I'll pick Dragon Quest 9.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a game
Wait,
nobody
wait,
likes.
time. Does that
Oh,
count?
you said
That
Dragon Quest Swords.
Right. So,
Oh yeah, you did.
That's
Okay. Give you a chance to rebound.
I guess I'll pick Ace Attorney, Apollo Justice.
Is that one on the iOS though?
Well, that's a
I don't
download, so
Okay.
I would.
I think the iOS are the first 3 or something. I think this is
Okay.
sort of a spin-off, I guess.
Sure.
I'm not quite
Alright.
sure. I'm not super familiar with the series.
Okay. I'm going to take a not so popular game, Stunt Race FX on the Super E NES.
The Magic of Scheherazade for the NES.
Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS.
Uniracers for the NES. Just SNES. I love that game.
Contra 3.
Nope.
Uh,
No?
No, that's on the GBA as well.
Is
It's
it?
called like Contra Wars or something on the GBA.
Really?
It got remade. Well, not remade. It got ported to the GBA.
I did not know that. Okay, well then Treasures of Rudra. Super
Red
Nintendo.
Steel. Yeah, I'll pick Red
Sorry.
Steel for the Wii.
Sorry, which one?
Red Steel.
Oh, Red Steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Lost in Shadow for the Wii.
Naruto no Kiseki for the PSP.
Wii Sports.
It works. God, it made me forget my stupid Wii Sports. I will take Double Dragon Advance on the GBA.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Kim, you're skipping me.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I got so excited about Super Smash Bros.
Oh goodness. Shoot. Well, you might be wanting to skip me anyways. No, Valkyria Chronicles. There we go. That's what I was thinking.
No, Kim said that
I
one.
said that already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Then derp. Xenogears.
Will we count that besides their Xenoblade, or I guess they're different.
I said Xenosaga earlier on the episode.
Okay, so now
yeah.
they're all done then.
All right.
They're all officially done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Say your brawl one there, Kim.
Yeah. Brawl was for me.
Okay, so I've
Super
got
Smash Bros. Brawl.
Todd's Adventures in Slime World on the Lynx. Oh no, maybe that's on something else actually. I think it's on something else. So I'll say Adventures of Bayou Billy on the NES.
Ice hockey.
Izaki, sure.
Game over to you.
Kirby's Epic Yarn for the Wii.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Donkey Konga on the GameCube.
Oh god. The Adventures of Lolo. 3. Sure.
3. I love the pause. 3.
No More Heroes 2.
I'm trying to remember these games that aren't in the arcade as well. Let's go Shenmue on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, King's Knight for the NES.
King's Knight.
That really shitty shooter that Squaresoft put out.
No, it's not ringing a bell. But anyways, fine.
Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS.
Final Fight 3 on the SNES.
Harvest Moon 64.
Damn it.
This is going to go on for a bit.
I'm gonna run out of games soon. Nintendo Land.
That's a game?
Yeah.
Oh god, okay. Sounds like some magical, mystical place on Earth somewhere.
It is pretty mystical.
Okay. Let's go with Loco Roco on the PSP.
Quest 64.
Ugh.
Age of Conan on the PC.
Dog. What is that? Dar on the Arg on the PC or whatever that game was called. Custer's Revenge on the Atari 2600.
Doom 64.
Oh. Lord of the Rings Online. That's on PC.
Disgaea 4 on the PS3.
I don't think we did, but Genzo Suikoden card stories. Game Boy Advance. Shazam in your faces.
Grandia 3 on the PS2.
I said Grandia Extreme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. The original Far Cry on the PC.
All right. Little Nemo the Dream Master on the NES.
Nice. Fire and Ice on the NES.
Oh. Perfect Dark Zero on the Xbox 360.
And this game's going pretty damn long, so
Yeah, this is a lot longer than anticipated.
But I don't believe anyone said Lufia the Legend Returns.
No, they didn't. That was actually going to be my next one, but Operation Wolf for the NES. Go.
Oh, that's an arcade game.
What? No, fuck then. Fuck me. I didn't actually know that was
It's like a stand-up Uzi game.
Tactics Agre, the Knights of Lotus.
Agre.
Agre.
Okay.
All right, pass. Oh, well, not pass, but over to you again.
Halo 3 on the 360.
Oh, I forgot about those. Dot Hack Infection on the PS2.
Shining Force. No, we already choose Shining.
You said Shining.
Yeah. Soul Blader. Soul Blazer.
Mhm.
Soul Bladder. For the Super Nintendo. Soul Blazer for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Ouch.
God damn it. Fable 2 for the Xbox 360.
Duh. Maximo Ghost to Glory on the PS2.
Marble Madness for the DS.
Nah, that came on the arcade.
Did it?
Yeah, it was an arcade game first. Yeah, it was an arcade game first.
That's
It might have had the trackball, I think.
That is really unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. Just imagine how many quarters that thing stole.
Yeah, because theft is right for that one. Oh man, Jesus. Yeah. God.
I certainly avoided it.
Oh wow. Oh, I guess show don't know shit about arcades. Bahamut Lagoon.
Gears of War for the Xbox 360.
Yeah. Hoorah.
Cold.
Yeah, Cold Train's right. Rogue Galaxy on the PS2.
Oh, nice. Gran Turismo 5. It's only PS3, right?
Yeah.
PS triple, yeah.
Did someone say Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Mystic Quest.
Quest.
Oh, okay. Kingdom Hearts on the PS2.
Did that not get a re-release?
I think there's like
Oh yeah, in Japan probably.
1 point.
I guess it's just out here.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I'm not sure about that one too.
That's probably a HD remake of that.
Maybe not. Well, maybe not. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll pick Golden Sun for the Game Boy Color.
Oh, nice.
Golden Sun?
Or Advance. Yeah, well, was
Oh, okay.
Advance.
I think it was Advance, yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor, you might have to check if this is right or wrong. Oriental Blue on the GBA?
I think it's only on the GBA. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's one of those games I just remember seeing but never played. So.
Yeah. Vantage Master Japan for the PC. What the fuck off! It's laughing at my game choice. Hell yeah. It's a game. Pictures. Take pictures of it. And plaster them all over the place and show you people.
Fire Knight.
Fire Knight. What are you, Kim? Come on. Come on, Kim. Come on.
I'll pick Alan Wake for the 360. Oh, it's for PC as well. God damn it. I think I'm running out of games. Yeah, I'll pass.
Oh.
All right, Taylor, you and I.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, did I say that? Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins on the PSP.
Isn't that just a port of something? Isn't that just
Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins? No,
Yeah.
that was made from the ground up for the PSP.
Oh.
It was a brand new game in the series.
Oh, well. Okay. That's nice.
Continue.
Continue indeed. Shit. I don't know if those... I don't know anything about arcades, so I can't... did Gradius 3...
As an arcade game.
Was it?
Well, I don't know about 3. First one definitely was, but I don't know about... I think 3 might be Super NES only.
Oh, well... Kim, what do you think?
I think it's fine.
Hey,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that was arcade only. Or, Super NES only.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I know the first game was.
Not the foggiest clue, so...
Yeah, I'm
not super familiar with that stuff either.
We will go with Splatterhouse 3 on the Genesis.
King Colossus on the Genesis, or the Mega Drive, or...
Colossus. Light Crusader on the Genesis.
Was Thunder Force 4 only Genesis?
Yeah, I think 3 and 4 were both. Maybe 2 as well.
Okay.
I think they're all...
Because
all
five
clean.
was the PlayStation 1 and Saturn or something? I thought 5 came out.
5, yeah, I think it's... Yes, it was a Saturn, I think only in Japan, and then PlayStation 1.
Okay, alright, yeah, so Thunder Force Bow.
Nice. Well, now, correct me on the title, but is it Einhander or Einhander
Einhander?
for the PlayStation 1?
Einhander?
Yeah.
Ein?
Squaresoft's little shooter there.
Right. Einhander. Zwei 2 for the PC.
Zwei!
Zwei.
Whatever it's called.
It's Zwei, but
Zwei?
yeah.
Fair enough. Let's do Soul Bubbles on the DS.
Let's do Solomon's Key. No, what? No, can't do that.
No, that's arcade and
Well, it's more.
NES.
Well,
And it's Fire and Ice too.
right, yeah. Oh, it's Fire and Ice 1. Fire and Ice.
I mean it's
Key
the French. Sorry.
2. Yeah, that's why. It's, poop on a platter.
No thanks.
The glory of Hercules foe. Data East, Super
Yeah.
Nintendo, up in this bitch. Yeah, I
Yeah.
went there.
Yakuza 3 on the PlayStation 3.
Oh, will this game ever end? I'm hoping right here it ends. Because I'm not going to say some of these games, because some of the games that I'm coming to mind, it's just stupid. No. Last Bible 2. 3, 1, for the Game Boy. Game Boy? I think just the Game Boy?
Maybe. I know there were some on the Color as well, but I think there's one that came to North America and it was called like The Last Revelation or something.
Right, because Bible
something
would be
or other.
bad.
Right. But Revelations.
But Revelations is alright.
That's much safer, right? Let's do some Infinite Undiscovery on the Xbox 360.
The Last Revenant.
That came out on the PC and the Xbox 360.
Did it? Those poor
Yeah,
It was
souls.
supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out for the PS3, but it got canceled.
Well, I knew it got canceled with the PS3. All right, then fine. Arcturus, the Curse and Loss of Divinity. It's on the PC. It's a Korean game, actually.
Little Big Planet on the PS3. Keep breathing.
Oh, dicks.
On a platter.
Yeah, dicks on a platter. Dicks on a platter everywhere. I don't think it did, but what the hell is it? The Klonoa, the Empire of Dreams.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. That might be only on the GBA, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know. So let's stick with some Vandal Hearts on the PlayStation.
Let's stick with some Vagrant Story on the PlayStation.
Followed by Jackie Chan's Stuntmaster on the PlayStation,
Followed by Shaq Fu for the Super Nintendo.
which was also on the Genesis.
Was it on the Genesis?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, no, fuck. No, these things. Well then, Pooh. I wanted to say Shaq Fu.
That's not a game.
But, no.
Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Earthworm Jim.
Which was on just about everything.
Was it?
It was on the PC, the Super NES, the Genesis, the Sega
I think it
CD.
even has a HD remake too.
Really?
It's on a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
I think on the Xbox.
I only knew it on the Genesis. For some random...
And for some reason, the Genesis one was like the most popular one for some reason.
Well then, that's about it. I can't really think of anything. I'm really kind of stumping out of there.
All right. We will close out then with Marky Mark Make My Video for the Sega CD.
What?
I was going to say Actraiser, but I thought that's not interesting. So
That's Marky Mark is a hell of a way to end that.
that's the way the sun sets. It rises and sets with Marky Mark. He's not a bad actor though.
Oh goodness! All right, so yeah, that was a much longer game than thought, and we probably totally said some that shouldn't have been a part of.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a couple we're not really aware of, but that's okay. It was
That's a part of the game.
yes. So please, if you
There was
know
a lot
one,
of exclusives.
yeah, more than I was. Man, I was expecting to
Yeah, you were.
fall apart after like 3.
And I was
But
just
there's
drawing from the modern library because I'm not really a big retro guy. So
yeah, but the
I was
retro
a
ones are
bit
usually a lot
surprised, too.
harder though. That's the thing, because so many of them have been brought back, right?
yeah, that's true.
Those are a little tougher to be like, yeah, that didn't appear on something, or like Lunar.
Yeah.
Any Ease game except maybe 7. I'm gonna check about that 7 or not. I'm not sure about that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, maybe I heard they were planning on it or something. Maybe that's
Maybe a Steam thing or something.
I'm probably wrong. So, anyways, it's besides the point now. But carry on, Taylor. Go for it.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So that is this episode of Thingies. I don't even know what the.
You mean legendary journeys among men and women?
There we go. Yes, best personal journeys. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and that's yeah. Kim, thank you for coming about. Thank you for joining the team for today. Thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It
No.
was fun.
Give you.
Plug your stuff one more time there, good sir.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I just said thanks for having me. It was fun.
No. Plug your stuff again.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, so, as I said at the start, you can find me at YouTube/weird channel name, which was the Scarend, as Tyler spelled it out at the beginning. If you really care, go back there and look it up. You can find me on Twitter, at indignation where the first I is an 1. So I've changed a number there because indignation was taken. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll make sure to have things up in places so if people,
Yeah, sure.
so they can check it out and whatnot. So yeah, so Kim, definitely thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sushi, and I'll talk to you sometime soon.
That sounds good.
I guess thanks for helping host out.
I'm trying. But really, thanks a lot for coming on, Kim. It was really good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks. It was nice to meet you guys too. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Awesome. All right. So yes, thanks guys for listening, and have a good day.